Hello and good evening. You are watching the Policy Times, world's first policy and development media. Whatever Policy Times does, it has a very simple and straight objective that through the activity, we want to achieve development for our nation, for our society, and for our larger community. And we have been extremely successful to bring experts from different domain who are real expert in that domain to share their views, their perspectives, and their vision and their experience. And today is no less than one of an iconic success of the Policy Times by having two individuals who have been doing exceptional contribution through their activities and through their actions in various fields, not limited to anything. I really want to welcome Mr. Sandeep Marwa sir. He is the president of Asian Academy of Film and Television, chancellor of AAFT University, founder of the most famous and the most successful Noida Film City, also Marwa Studios. Sir is actually a warrior, and since last couple of decades, I have been a big fan of Sandeep sir, myself, because being in media and being in the also in the media and entertainment sector, film and television sector, the kind of contribution Sir is doing is absolutely exceptional. Sir has recently received a couple of awards from Middle East, from Vietnam, and many part of the world. And with him, I have another academician, Professor Dr. Madan Mohan Goel. He has come up with a very different kind of economic theory, which he termed as Nidonomics. He is the Vice Chancellor of Starex University based in Gurgaon. So I'll go quick to the subject that we are going to discuss today. Education is the backbone of any society, whether it is India or any part of the world. Whichever nation or society prospered, there is only one thing common. They have developed their education system as the world class. Because their education system is world class, that led to the development and prosperity of the society. India, next 30 to 40 years belongs to India. India has everything that it needs to be a global power or a global power center or a global economic hub, a global education hub. Now, the important part is how do we achieve it? So, a lot of other countries have done. The United States has done it in its own way. Europe has done exceptional development. Japan has done, Korea has done, China has done recently. Now, how can India do that? Not only becoming a global education hub, but also how can we become the most intellectual hub of the world, the most commercial capital of the world, and maybe whatever the term we call it. Now, there are no better speakers than Sandeep sir, and with him, Professor Goel sir, to talk on this. I will say a couple of words. Post-pandemic, we have observed massive shift in the approach of education. Now, this in today's era, digitization and globalization are the new phenomena. We need to adapt it. Now, skilling and entrepreneurship are the new norms, which has to be extremely integrated in the education system. Industry has to come much aggressive way in terms of rescuing the challenges our education system is facing. I will straightly go to our experts. To begin with, I will request our experts to kindly introduce themselves, share the kind of experience, the professional journey and achievements that you had achieved in your life. So with that, and then in the second round, we'll start the main discussion. I'll first request Sandeep sir, the ever smiling and the most charming personality that I have ever seen. Sandeep sir.
Thank you, Akram. Thanks a lot. Let me extend my heartiest thanks to the Policy
Times.
Policy Times for inviting me here and giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my thinking process with all your viewers. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk about me. I mean, this all started, let me tell you, through my school days when I was quite keen in developing my own art in films, television, media, art, culture. And there used to be no word films in those days in schools, by the way. But my inclination, my idea was always there to be a part and parcel of this beautiful industry. In college, I got a lot of promotion. I'm so thankful to my college principal, who never said no to me whenever I proposed anything, whenever I have stood in front of him in his cabin. Well, that gave me a lot of confidence that I'm on the right track. Started with theater, jumped to television, and then to cinema. Though I wanted to get into acting, but then I decided that probably I think I can do a little bigger and better than that. And that's how that gave me an idea. And I started designing in 1986 a film city for North India. 87, it got its clearance. 88, allotments were made. Government gave us 3 years time to build up the infrastructure. And 1991, we started the first professional studio of North India, and people started calling me as a founder of Noida Film City. Today, I'm very happy. Noida Film City is the fastest growing film city in the world. It's a 100-acre complex, 75 acres outdoor, 25 acres indoor, 16 studios. And out of 16 studios, 350 channels are being broadcast to 162 countries, 24/7, 17,000 media professionals. They're working in this campus in 3 shifts of 8 hours each. And the cascading effect is that around about 150,000 people, they have been able to earn their bread because of this film city. When it comes to Marva Studios, we're very happy that in a span of all these 30 years of Marva Studios, we have churned out around about 4,500 television programs for more than 50 channels. We're associated with around about 125 feature films, 5,000 training films, and my production company has made something like 3,000 short films and given opportunity to 10,000 young professionals to build up their biodata through this company and made 3,000 short films. I'm very happy, got into education in 1993. And in a span of all these 28 years in education, we have churned out 19,000 media professionals hailing from all the states and union territories of India and 145 countries of the world. God has been very kind, and I'm taking full interest in education. That's my passion, that's my love. And I just cannot ignore art and culture, because that's all part and parcel of education, and as well as a very important ingredient to build up the nation. I've always believed that Sur bin mile na Saraswati, Guru bin mile na Gyan, Jal bin Hansa yu mile, jaise Bharat mile Bhagwan. The fact is that unless until there's a combination of 7 swaras, you cannot create a music. A swan, she doesn't look nice unless until there is a pond full of water. A powerful man like Bharat also needed a teacher like Lord Rama. And for any person to get success in life, it's very important to have a dedicated, sincere teachers and a very professional and a sincere institution. That's what I have always believed in. And on the basis of these, I must say, sanskaras, we started Asian Academy of Film and Television as a boutique institute. And I'm very happy that today we have become the first film university of the country. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, sir, for the excellent, again, I mean, because the achievements and accomplishments are so worthy that I every word and every number that you mentioned were really very touchy, and really congratulations for the exceptional work, sir. I'll come to Professor M.M. Goel, a brief introduction.
Thank you, Alam, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. I am grateful to Policy Times for this opportunity. Let me tell you that I am a humble student, researcher, teacher living in Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra is known to the world, sadly, for Mahabharata.
Yes.
Being devotee of Krishna and Gita as my guru, I always say Kurukshetra as a place is the first ever university on the planet, because the objective of a university is to get knowledge, and the best possible knowledge has been given by Lord Krishna himself in the form of Bhagavad Gita. Let me tell you, Bhagavad Gita is a ism neutral, religion-free treatise on management, relationship management, and welfare economics. I belong to a family of teachers. My grandfather was a teacher, my father was a teacher, I am a teacher, my wife was a teacher, my daughter is a teacher, and I started my career as a shadow teacher when I was a student of class 6, and that continued till MA final. After passing out my MA, I started my career of teaching at one postgraduate college in Yamunanagar, and then shifted to Kurukshetra University in 1998 and continued there up to 31st of August 2016 and remained on all positions, starting from lecturer, reader, professor, chairman, Department of Economics, as well as Department of Journalism. Then I was Dean, Faculty of Social Sciences, Dean of Colleges, and ultimately retired from there in August 2016. After that, I was appointed Pro Vice Chancellor in Veer Kumar Singh University, Ara. There I resigned and joined Institution of National Importance at Shri Parambadur, Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, for which I was given the appointment letter by the President of India. But there also I resigned and came back, remained 1 year as Vice Chancellor in JNU Jaipur, and now I'm heading Starex University Gurugram as Vice Chancellor, which has a motto, Nun is semper, meaning thereby, now is forever. Once Starex, always Starex. This university is coming up on the national platform. Although we claim to be weak, but we are unique because we are preparing the students with two important things. One is spiritual input, and the second is communication skills in English. Because our Chancellor, Sardar Mahendra Singh Ji, is basically from Amritsar, but he has been trained there in Frankfurt, Germany, and he was there since 15, and he has a passion and motivated to give higher education to the middle class people in Gurgaon. And I believe that we have to contribute a lot in the post-pandemic era, because the new normal, which has come through blended mode of education, that is 60% to be given offline, 40% online, and we are committed to implement national education policy through the higher order thinking skills. We have to make our students skillful, creative, and critical in the real sense of the term. And we have to think of Nido education, which is part and parcel of Nidonomics, because Nido education is required for Nido employment, and we have to go in for Nido employability and Nido entrepreneurship. So in that sense, we have adopted this Nidonomics, which is practically flowing from the logo of LIC. LIC logo, you know, Yogam Kshemam Bahamyam. Your welfare is our responsibility. And from that, I have come out with this model of Nido education, which is required in the post-pandemic era. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Goel, for the quite comprehensive introduction. And great to know that the whole family belongs to the education and in the profession of teaching. So I'll quickly come to Sandeep sir. Sir, you have traveled across many important and large countries of the world. You have interacted with, I think, hundreds and thousands of ambassadors, high commissioners who are representing their nations in India. You have traveled across India, understood the education system, have quite experience in understanding how nations are developing themselves and becoming bigger power centers of the world, becoming commercial hub, becoming, much better economy, infrastructure-wise, business-wise, export-wise, art and culture-wise. I would first come to you to kindly share your experience, your thought, that if next 30 to 40 years belongs to India, then how have we been progressing? What are the current trends which are there, and how can India take leadership role in all possible areas, including film and entertainment? Sir, please unmute yourself.
Well, Akram, you're right. I'm well traveled. I have noticed many things around the world, and probably that's the reason that I've tried to bring in best of things possible from all over the world to Noida Film City, and then to Asian Academy of Film and Television, and now AAFT University. Well, there are a few very important things which I noted down. Number one, everything starts with environment. You have to have a very polite, definite environment for any school, college to develop in the right direction. And probably that's the reason. I'll give you my case studies simultaneously. Why? Because AAFT has already been a case study in 27 countries, including UCLA, when 32 MBA students full-time flew down to India a few years back and that year their project was Indian media and entertainment industry and case study of AAFT. Now, these are few of the points which probably whatever I'm recollecting, I would love to tell you here. Number one, environment. Second, very important thing is infrastructure. It's very important for any school, college to be successful. You have to have a proper infrastructure, most suitable to the education, what you're trying to deliver and pass on to your people, your students, your customers. Third very important thing is the rightful curriculum, syllabus. What exactly you have to give it to, what are your motives, what are the intentions of the college or the higher education. So it's very important. In the same manner, you have to design your syllabus, curriculum, subjects, what you need to have in your 3 years or 2 years or 1 year courses. Fourth very important thing is the equipment. What are the teaching aids, equipment, setups? I mean, like in my case, equipment plays a very, very important role because filmmaking is nothing but like a performing art. You have to have cameras, editing, graphics, animation machines, special effects, and whatnot. I mean, like I can't list out I need hours to do that, but yes, equipment plays a very important role. Then the next point comes in the special curriculum which you are adding into the whole course. I mean, the co-curricular activities, one kind of a workshop, seminars, symposium, interaction programs, foreign faculty, guest faculty. What are the kind of things, the input you're trying to bring in other than the chalk and talk and other than the practicals, what you are conducting? Because students, they get very bored with the daily routine system and the faculty. How good you may be, but if you're at home or you're a home faculty, they say we still want a change. So this is very important. Then the next is the industry interface. How you're planning the industry interface with the institution. Are they still stuck to the bookish knowledge or they know what is happening around them? So this is very important. And then so likewise, there may be another few more points which maybe I can discuss later, but then yes, these are the things which are very important. You have to concentrate on it. This is while delivering the education. But then the best part is that education has taken a new shape, especially after pandemic, because things have changed. You have to bring in a lot of new things. And let me give you the new definition of education, which I have created for the higher education, especially when I say education, it all starts with E. Now, the whole education should be full of enthusiasm and excitement. This is my planning. And I'm happy that AAFT is not only a case study in 27 countries, but it has been a case study for the new education policy, which has been written in India and delivered to the whole country. AAFT has been a case study there also. And why? Because the whole education has to be enthusiastic, exciting. Students should be, they should be loving the subjects. They should be loving the curriculum which has been delivered to them. And this is how the whole education should start. And it should be enthusiastic, entertaining, not only excitement, entertaining. You have to develop the whole curriculum in such a manner that you are enjoying learning rather than cribbing, accusing, abusing the old pattern of education. D stands for the dedication, determination, and every education should take you to the development. It's not only uttering words by a teacher and listening by a student half-heartedly. No, you have to see to it that student is developing every class, every day, every week, every month. I have reports. I check myself that how my students are developing the day he entered into the campus and exactly after 3 months, what he is about to say about the institution. So D stands for the dedication, the determination of the students, and the development of the student. The U stands for the working under the given resources. I mean, when Lord Rama and his brothers were learning in woods, in jungle, by his gurus, there was no sange marmar, no marble fixed in a classroom. There was no air conditioning. There was no air purifiers. I mean, you have to learn in a given resources. That's very important, because the whole government and the whole United Nation today is talking about SDG. I'm happy that because of this, my institution and the way we've been working, I have been nominated as a global ambassador of SDG Chopal of Niti Aayog. And we've been shouting that you have to work in the given resources. Don't expect too much. I mean, look at the cinema course, which I'm conducting for, let's say, 6 lakhs for 3 years, is only 90 lakhs in New York University. I mean, it's not even 10%. And I challenge that my course is much better than them, because I give practical training within this fees from my own side to my students, and they learn a lot. And that was one of the conditions of starting a film school, that like a medical school, if you have a medical college attached to a medical school, only those schools are successful and get licensed to operate. And in the same way, I have started a film school right attached to the film studios. All film studios are right next to a film school, so that students get real practical ambience, environment, and training in how to be in a film industry. U stands for given resources, and C stands for, my dear, communication. Very important. C stands for communication. It's the age of eyes. Information, communication, and entertainment. If you are away from this, then you're not a part of the industry today, any industry. So very important to communicate. बोली एक अनमोल है जो कोई बोले जान, हिये तराजू तौल के तब मुख बहरान, ऐसी बानी बोलिए मन का आपाक होए और उनको शीतल करे और खुद भी शीतल होए. Very old, very well written, that unless until you are a good communicator, you cannot achieve success. And especially in my own industry, where the listening and talking and writing plays a very important role. Television, cinema, or all parts of media, by the way. And C also stands for commitment, which we are losing somehow. Raghupati Preeta Sada Chali Aayi, Pran Jaye par Vachan Na Jaye. Very important. People should learn what time, the punctuality, regularity, sincerity, dedication, classwork, homework, timing. I mean, everything was in a mess, unfortunately. You have to bring back. I mean, I feel I suffered when I get students from different schools, and you can make out in a minute that which school has done well with the students. So there's a sense of commitment which people have to learn towards education, that I'm here to learn. I'm not here to pass time. Very important. I'm sure Goel Saab will understand what I'm talking. Students, they have to take it very seriously, the education. It's because the career, especially in higher education, school, probably you may make fun of it. But when you are in a college, it's a career-oriented education. You have to make your career after this education. Then education, A stands for attitude. Very, I mean, we want our students to be very ambitious. They should dream big. They should think big. They should have a bigger vision, because higher the vision, higher the dream, bigger the achievements. So ACE is a very important factor here, and bigger the ambitions, then the sober the attitude. You have to be down to earth. You have to be compassionate. You have to be supporting. You have to be polite. Very important. These all elements are missing from the school education. I mean, in a college, we have to worry about these things now. And T stands for being tough. Very important. We have to prepare all our students to be ready for unforeseen circumstances. They just cannot ignore things like that. I mean, नहीं तो क्या बच्चे बिल्कुल ऐसे पोपले से सोबर से निकलेंगे बेचारे. दुनिया बहुत tough है. Things are not that easy when you are out of the institutions. So we have to prepare them for the market, for the real conditions which are prevailing outside. And T also stands for transfer of knowledge. It's not only talking in the classroom, chalk and talk. It has to be the transfer of knowledge from teacher to the students. The real transfer, that we have to assess that what has been taught in the classroom is being actually received by students or not. Very important. And then I stands for information, ample information to be delivered in classrooms so that they should carry right information. Today we do have Google, but all information is not correct. So it's very important for teachers to study well, do well, prepared very well, and then deliver the education, deliver the information to the classroom. And this information has to bring in a lot of intelligence. It has to be delivered intelligently. Not reading a book is information today. You have to, the case studies, the experiences which nobody has got. So when a teacher speaks, he carries a lot of intelligence into the education. And then the last in I is the innovative. The delivery has to be innovative. It has to be different. And then only you will find students, they are probably learning from the same classroom, from the same teacher, the same subject, but they're innovative and they're doing something extraordinary and showing to the world that they are so capable. And then O stands for the overall development of the student. Gone are the days that you have taught him a law or an engineering or let's say a fashion. No, now they all have to be overall 360-degree development of the child. And that's called the real personality development. He should know what is general knowledge. He should know what is happening around him. So we bring in a lot of workshops, seminars, symposium, interaction program, festivals, film festivals, whatnot. I mean, full of events. I mean, probably my next record is going to be only on events. We have done around about 7,000 events now. And then last but not the least, N stands for being nationalist. Very important. We have to inculcate the feeling of nationalism. They have to be patriotic. You just cannot talk against the country in front of a Japanese. He will never talk to you. And I'm so happy I'm charged seeing a flag right next to Mr. Goyal. I'm so thankful for that, Madan Mohan Goyal ji. For that's the spirit. And the best part is that even I'm also carrying a national flag in my room, which is a little aside. But then this is what is needed. Lovely, sir. This is what is needed. We have to tell people that you have to be nationalist, patriotic. This is your country. You have to love your country. You have to love your countrymen. And that feeling has to come within, and it has to be part of training. With all these words, I think I would love to condense the second part of what I'm talking, that education, I have given a new meaning with new education policy. Thank you. You're mute.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I mean, every time I hear you, there is freshness. There is something new that I really learn. And today I heard you speaking on education. I have never heard you speaking education. And the new meaning and new definition you gave, I think should have been part of the national education policy, which is maybe perhaps there in some other language or other words or wordings. So thank you so much, sir, for giving this. And maybe in my future lectures, I'll incorporate the points that you have mentioned and the new definition of education. So thank you, sir. Now I'll quickly come to Professor Goyal. So we'll hear Professor Goyal, the new economic or needonomics that you have created, the objective of it, and then again talking about education.
I was telling to you that needonomics is practically flowing from Bhagavad Gita, shloka number 22 of chapter 9, which has been used by LIC of India, Yogam Kshemam Mahamyam. Your welfare is our responsibility. Yatra Yogeshwar Krishna, Yatra Partharo Dhanurdhar, Tatra Sri Vijayo Bhutardita Nitamatramam. Meaning thereby, Lord Krishna says, if you believe me completely, absolutely, and wholeheartedly, whatever you need, that I'll give you, whatever you have, that I'll take care of. And that comes out with spiritually guided materialism strategy, which is required for globalization as internationalization of Indianization. Let me put on record my appreciation for a nationalist like Mr. Sandeep Marwaha. And he has spelled out almost all the dimensions of education which we need in the post-pandemic era. But let me supplement him. In my beloved nation, many of us are careless. Many of us are useless. The challenge before us is how to make them careful, and useful. And for that, we need to go in for real education, which I conceptualize proper, productive, and practical use of hands, head, and heart. To supplement my friend Sandeep Marwaha, let me tell you, I have come out with two models, street smart and simple model. Although the entire country is using smartphones, smart cities are being talked about, but many of us are over smart, many of us are stupid smart, but we need to become street smart. We have to understand the environment around the world, as Mr. Marwaha was telling about. Sustainable development goals have to be understood. And let me tell you, out of 17 targets, 5 of the targets are related to the quality of education, which we have to impart. Therefore, we have to understand the environment around us. The pandemic era, you know very well that how test positive has become the most negative word, how to convert people with a positive attitude and how to make them street smart. I have this model which I would like to share with Marwahaji, who has given you wonderful thoughts, and I share my concerns. And I wish to complement and supplement, although time is limited, but the smart model is transparency we need, for which we have been using RTI, which has been misused and abused. But now artificial intelligence is in play. But artificial intelligence is being misused also. We have to be very careful, alert, aware, and awake in using artificial intelligence. We have to stop the cyber crimes which are taking place even in e-education, e-teaching, e-learning, e-banking, e-finance, everywhere. So transparency can be ensured when we go in for online and artificial intelligence to be used properly with cyber laws. And responsiveness is required in my beloved country. Marwahaji will agree with me that we delay like things, anything. We promote haste makes waste. But herein, I would like to tell you, I was in South Korea at Seoul, where I have learned Pali culture of South Korea, meaning thereby, hurry up, and be quick, meaning thereby, we have to adopt 24-hour, 7 days model so that things can be done quickly. We have to become action oriented. We have been wasting our resources like anything in the name of financial year, which starts on April 1st, continues up to 31st March, which has become a ritual day in which we waste our resources like anything. Heaven is not going to fall if we are not able to spend money by 31st March. Therefore, we have to become result-oriented, action-oriented in utilizing the resources, for which our behavior should be moral, ethical. We have to have basically artha with dharma, which is nothing but needonomics. But sadly, people have converted from shubh labh to lobhi. Greedonomics has come into play. I'm sorry to say that the country is not going to progress with greedonomics. India possesses the potential to be the global leader, the world leader, even in education. Let me tell you, we have invited 100 foreign universities here to open their shops. But I believe that we may be weak, but we can become unique with spiritual input and communication skills by imbibing values flowing from Gita and Anu Gita. And let me tell you, Sandeep Marwaha is one of the person who has been using Ramayana. But let me honestly tell you, he is a Karma Yogi of Gita. And not only that, he is a Jivan Mukti Prapt person like Janak, who has been certified by Brahma that he is Jivan Mukti. A person like Marwaha doesn't need a certificate after death to go in for salvation. He needed to worry how people are going to react after the death. He himself proved to be a successful educationist through his endeavors in film industry. Although I have strong convictions about Bollywood, because it is creating a gap between, the values have not yet emerged. On the one line, our Bollywood is talking of many things, and our government wants to make people ethical, to follow epics of Gita, Anu Gita, but this morality have to be developed, and the gap between the values, the old values and new values have not yet emerged. We have to come with new values under the new education policy, and for that, we need to become simple, honestly speaking. Mahatma Gandhi has been talking of simple living and high thinking, but as a humble resident, researcher, and teacher for Kurukshetra, I always say simple living and no thinking. No thinking does not mean that we should not think. We should think of those things which are in our control. We should not think of those things which are not in our control. And that is the message of pandemic era also. Although people are fearful, fear is false, evidence is appearing real. Gita says that soul is immortal, death rate is zero. Why to worry about death? And the physical body, Marwahaji, I have to die, you have to die, everybody has to die, but why to fear death? But ultimately, we need to become simple in the strict sense with the terminology. Marwahaji has been talking of IQ, but sadly, IQ has become obsolete today when we are having our laptops, smartphones, but we can be superior to the machines through emotional quotient. Therefore, we need to develop emotional quotient. We have to develop love oneself attitude. We have to have health culture. We have to adopt the WHO health protocol. Let me honestly tell you, Marwaji, the pandemic era has internationalized Indianization. Today, in the name of physical distancing, nobody is allowed to shake hands. Nobody is allowed to have hugging. And namaste and namaskar has become internationalized. This is a matter of consolation for we Indians that namaste has become internationalized today, which is the positive implication of pandemic era. Therefore, we have to have health culture by following the WHO protocol of physical distancing, wearing masks, and washing our hands again and again. But we need to change our mental level. We believe in blame game. Politicians, opposition leaders oppose leaders in power. Teachers accuse students. Politicians accuse bureaucrats. We have to stop this blame game. We have to change our mindset. We have to change our looks. We have to change our actions. We have to change our words to make it love the land, motherland, Bharat. Ba means knowledge, Rat means seeker. Bharat is a knowledge seeker economy. And we are enjoying the status of Wish Guru. Although in terms of economics, we stand nowhere. In terms of number of indicators, we stand nowhere. But we enjoy the status of Wish Guru. And for that, it is the spiritual input flowing from our epics for which we should be thankful to our sages to come out with Vedas and Gita. So we need to change our mental level. I have an intuition, Marwahaji, that India is going to emerge as a world leader, and only on the basis of spiritual strength. If you adopt it in Bollywood and Hollywood, honestly speaking, the rate of progress in spirituality is faster than the rate of progress in materialism. And for that, we have to adopt spiritually guided materialism flowing from needonomics, economics of need, which is not only to confine to consumption. The producers, the marketers, the sellers have to use this conceptualization of needonomics. First of all, we have to create the need of our educational product. Then we have to make it affordable and price it worth of it. Probably with this conceptualization of needonomics and the approach of marketing our educational product, we can certainly compete with the so-called 100 shops coming in our country. We may be weak, but we may be unique, like Sandeep Marwaha and his university, although we can complement and supplement through the StarX University program, and we can certainly go in for an MOU, although we don't want to compete with Bollywood and Hollywood, but we want to make our people street smart and simple. And for that, we have to imbibe values, ethical values flowing from Gita to move on the ladder of success with morality, opulence, victory, and empowerment. Believe that Lord Krishna and Arjun is with you. Day after tomorrow, we are going to celebrate birthday of Lord Krishna. And Krishna needs to be accepted as God. And Gita, which is the heart of Krishna, my Guru, need to be adopted in our all educational program, starting from nursery level to postgraduate level, even in research. I may not be Sanskrit literate, but I claim to be devotee of Krishna as well as the disciple of Gita and promote Bhagavad Gita as an ambassador of Gita, ambassador of Kurukshetra for internationalization of Indianization. With these words, I'm grateful to Sandeep Marwaha for giving me wonderful opportunity and to join hands with you. Join hands with you through policy times and come out with some MOU with you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Goel, for the extempo kind of a breathless speech that you have given, and also covering a wide range of issues. And we have been exploring what unique thing can make India a global leader. You have very rightly mentioned spirituality should be the root we should take very seriously. Yoga has made a global, market in the sense I'm talking about the economic value of yoga today. It is more than $90 billion right now. Imagine it can be a multi-trillion-dollar industry if we can explore it globally. That is just one aspect. I'm not talking about the economic greedy part of it. I'm just giving economic numbers in terms of how we can capitalize it. You mentioned about Lord Krishna. I myself is a big fan of Lord Krishna and Gita. I don't know how many times I've seen Mahabharata. Every time I watch, I gain a new knowledge based on my own experience and wisdom. The lessons of Mahabharata does not end with the wording that comes from it. It is like it increases as we increase our knowledge. That is the beauty of Mahabharata I have seen. I'll quickly come to Sandeep sir. Sandeep sir, because you are an authority, you are an institution yourself, what would be your message to different stakeholders of the society? You have given your message indirectly in the end when you talked about the last word of education as nation. Now, what would be your message for our policymakers? What would be your message for our educators? What would be your message for our students, guardians, civil society, and the whole nation at large?
So I think let me start with the two lines I'm recollecting. कि सभी दिशाओं से शुभ सुंदर भाव विचार भरे नित अंतर पुण्य धरा बन जाए स्वर्ग ये मेरे यत्नों से करुणा कर. Whether it is north, south, east or west, whether you're in India or abroad, whether you're on the top of the hill or you're standing at a seashore, whether you are in a lush green garden and looking at some colorful flowers, or maybe looking at the most beautiful woman on earth. But the fact is there are two things which are much more beautiful than what you can see with your naked eyes. And these two things are your thinking and your feelings. And the best part is that both the things are right within you. You don't even need eyes for that. So let's pray that, hey, Lord, give me good thinking, give me good feelings so that I can do good deeds. And through my good karma, I would love to convert this earth into heaven. Now, this is what I believe in, and I presume and think and believe that people should also believe in the same, because this is what the history speaks about it, what spirituality talks about it. Because if you're compassionate, if you're supporting, if you're helpful, if you are pleasing, if you're nice to talk, you will bring in a lot of happiness into the country. And every department, every segment, every start of life will be developing with this kind of an environment. And on the second side, you have to be educated, you have to be intelligent, and you have to be street smart, as Mr. Goel has put in. Even I use sometimes this word, because then you are in the most appropriate situation, because then you know how to adjust with the given situation. And when you may be educated, but if you're not smart enough, trust me, all that education, it goes waste. So you have to be street smart. That's a fantastic word, which I think I uses quite some time. And this is what is required. And a message to all the higher authorities who are in the planning part of the country, especially education, that they have added beautiful suggestions through new education policy. There are about 15 new organizations which have been created for checks and for double checks and things like that. Fine, that's okay. But then let institutions work of their own. Let universities create their own mark. Let these universities use their own creative way of delivering education. There has to be no strong pattern or a single pattern of delivering education, because then again we will be creating clerks. I mean, I was shocked when I was hearing the Vice Chancellor of Delhi University, and he said, unfortunately, for so many years, the same pattern for 32 years, they never changed the syllabus, and we have created ample number of clerks from the best and the biggest university of the country, Delhi University. I should have not taken the name, but then it's all in the air. I mean, like you can instantly check, it's all on the net. But then I don't want that because something, let me say, for example, in my own case, I mean, I have trained 19,000 students so far, and all of them are working in the industry in their chosen field. Why? Because the education delivered was different, very creative, out of the box, very innovative, and we have never compared ourselves with anyone. I'm not comparing. There may be some better people than us, but then I know that I'm the best, and my students, they're learning well. They're earning in crores today. That's the best part. And they are so well established. And my institution has given largest number of celebrities to this country in 28 years. So God has been very kind. So that has set some kind of an example for our own self that we were right, we are right, and we will be improving on the same pattern and want to be a little different from the rest of the world. So don't compel us, don't guide us on how to teach. That you have to leave it to the universities, how they have to go ahead, and let these universities be exclusive, extraordinary, and of their own. Then only you will be able to create a difference between two different set of educations. Otherwise, everyone will be of same thing, same pattern, same subject, same thing, which is again be a, if not today, but after few years, it will be a sad state of affairs. So I think people understand that. I'm happy that I've been on different platforms, different government bodies. I'm on different setups, and I keep on interfering into the decision making. I keep on suggesting, and I'm happy that even Government of India has given me a beautiful status. I've recently been nominated as a national chairman for Media and Entertainment Upgradation Committee. A very powerful committee. All the 10 segments of media, including media education and print, radio, television, cinema, all of them, we are working on how to upgrade the industry, how to bring in standards in the industry. That's my job today. And I'm happy I've got around about 60 brains of India who are working with me today. And we all are trying to put in our best. Now, this is what which I have passed on to the Ministry of Education from Ministry of Consumer Affairs. Obviously, they were not aware what is happening in other ministry. So I have become a common factor between Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Ministry of Consumer Affairs, and Ministry of Education. That this is a kind of a thing we are doing it, and all the three ministries are going to get benefit out of this kind of affair. So this is, I appreciate Government of India for these kind of steps, and government has become very liberal in bringing best brains possible from private to government on an honorary basis, giving them some wonderful position. And this is what is now required. We wanted it, they've done it. And there are many more points which can be discussed. Probably, I know that the time is short and we would love to condense it here. Last but not the least, I would love to finish with two lines. Ke vibhasit kar gagan bhutal, timir ko jyoti deta chal. निराशा के अंधेरे को मिटा दे ले प्रभंजन बल, कहीं पूनम अमावस्या, कहीं उलझन, कहीं फिसलन, कहीं कांटे, कहीं पहरा कटिल बंधन। यहाँ प्रतिकूल है सब कुछ, कहीं मरुस्थल, कहीं बादल, मगर तू मुस्कुराता चल, दिशाएं हो उठे उज्जवल, मगर तू मुस्कुराता चल, दिशाएं हो उठे उज्जवल। We all have to learn how to face unforeseen circumstances. If you can learn that, trust me, nothing is difficult. It may be difficult, but then nothing is impossible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Every time I hear your speech, especially the combination of some poetic lines with the English translation, it gives me goosebumps, and the way you connect things is absolutely fabulous. And I think you attract a lot of audience. I've seen you speaking in a lot of different platforms. Thank you, sir. Keep doing that. I am one of your biggest fans. I'll keep following you and your work. I'll come to Professor Goyal. Professor Goyal, quick message for all our stakeholders.
After listening to Sandeep Marwahaji, nothing is left, but let me tell you, we have to learn best practices coming from some wonderful reports. I would like to tell the audience that we have to learn from UNESCO report, learning the treasure within, meaning thereby learning to know, learning to do, learning how to live together, and learning to be. And above all, we need to become street smart and simple. Stop blame game, war of words. We need to change our looks, actions, and words to make it the law of land and survive, exist, and excel. And for that, there is certainly a need, as Sandeep Marwaha is saying, that we must have proper blend of public-private partnership model. Here, let me tell you, private sector has come out with excellent infrastructure and interesting playgrounds, sports activities, but sorry to confess, many of the private universities do not provide the kind of manpower required in sports. So I prevail upon the government that they should adopt a model wherein the Sports Authority of India should appoint the coaches and give it to the private universities for effective utilization of the infrastructure of playgrounds. Probably that PPP model can succeed like anything, and we have to strengthen this PPP model at a higher education level. Let me honestly tell you, every level of government poses its nose at every level of education. Heaven is not going to fall if there is proper division of labor. I have seen one postgraduate college run by a municipality in Missouri. Why a postgraduate college is run by a municipality and the central government is running primary schools, secondary schools, and the central universities? Let central government take the responsibility of giving secondary education to everybody in the nation, probably, and rest of the things can be left to the state governments. I believe higher education can be done by the state governments and under PPP model better than being poking its nose at every level. And school level education should be given to the local government, urban local bodies, and Panchayati Raj institutions. Probably we can succeed like success in education under the new education policy by involving all the stakeholders, all the consumers, producers, distributors, and traders to understand, analyze, interpret, and adopt Nidonomics, Nido education, Nido entrepreneurship, Nido employability, Nido employment. With these words, I am grateful to the Policy Times for giving this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Goyal, for again giving a new direction to Sandeep sir mentioned. I'm really grateful, Sandeep sir, for the wonderful wisdom you have presented and the wonderful direction you have given. You are doing exceptional work, and we wish you that let the journey continue until we make India one of the real, thought leader and a global leader of the world. Thank you so much, Professor Goyal, for joining us. Viewers, I will not repeat the points our speakers have spoken. I would request you to keep watching the Policy Times, the programs we do, we commit to you that we will bring development journalism to you so that we all together can make India one of the best nations of the world. Thank you. Keep watching.